Most parents who set up a life insurance policy for their child, they never ask about what happens to that policy when the child grows up. But that's actually where it gets really interesting. Tucker Watkins, CFP with 35 years of experience, breaks down exactly what happens next. So, Tucker, what happens to a child's index universal life policy when they grow up? Can they take it over? And what does that mean for their financial future?
Sure. So yes, the way it works is that because a minor can't enter into a contract, it has to be owned by either the parent or the grandparent, usually the parent, and it's owned under what's called a custodial relationship called a Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. And then when the child reaches age of majority, usually age 21, sometimes age 18, the policy ownership is transferred to them. Now, at that point, they are hopefully adult enough to take charge of the premiums and continue to pay the premiums themselves going forward. However, if the parents or grandparents wanted to continue to add additional premiums, they can. And that brings up a wonderful little story from former Governor Ann Richards from the state of Texas. She said, early money is like yeast. It makes dough grow. I know it's corny, but it's memorable. And what that's all about is that if the parents or grandparents did want to add additional premiums, those premiums then would have decades and decades to continue to grow. So that's one of the benefits of the parents and grandparents adding additional premiums. The Index Universal Life provides them with that flexibility so that they can do that. Another benefit for the child by becoming insured as a minor, as a little young one, as a kid, is that they've then locked in the low cost of insurance as a minor, much less expensive than if they did it when they were much older. The other thing I love to say is that this guarantees permanent insurance on the child. So if as a child ages, if the child comes down with diabetes or cancers or heart issues or lung issues or any issues, if they then tried to apply for life insurance, they might find either that the life insurance would be very expensive or they might become uninsurable. So by having the child get a life insurance policy on him or herself when they're young, then they protect that insurance for the rest of their lives. I should also point out that because they would own the policy, it is way safer and much more secure than if they have insurance through a workplace environment. Because if they have insurance through work, if they ever leave that job or if the job says you're going to leave, then they lose that insurance. So this is permanent insurance that the child would own. I should also mention that one of the reasons that we do this for children when they're young is that it allows for the money to have decades of time to grow. And then, because there are ways that the monies can be accessed completely in a tax advantage manner, the child, or as an adult, then the adult could reach in and loan themselves money from the policy. They could then use that money in a tax advantage manner to maybe buy their down payment on their first home, maybe for a car, maybe to pay back student loans, or if they just keep the policy in place for a long, long time, they could actually use it as a retirement asset. So there's lots of different benefits that the child has as they move from being a minor to being an adult, because this sets them up for a very secure financial future. And if we talk about financial future, then let's talk about legacy, because they're not just taking over a plan. What they're doing is they're taking over a foundational asset. That asset could then be used to protect a spouse, or it could be used to leave a tax-free legacy to children. Remember that life insurance proceeds are paid out to the beneficiary completely tax-free. No state income taxes, no federal income taxes. So this is a way that legacy wealth can be left for the next generations.
To find out what this could look like for your child, book a free 30-minute call with Tucker at tuckerwatkins.net.